What is going on, everybody? Welcome in the Frogs and Friends. We have a pack-filled news week this week in episode for you guys today. So we have a bunch of frogs here in the pool with us. We got Adam, we got Meta, and we also have the highest ranking Pepe around. We got Gmoney. What's going on, boys?
Shade delay, what's happening?
What's up?
Italy.
I think we talk about the Fed chair, dude. That's like
You
the
want to talk about
biggest.
that first? Okay.
Yeah, like the 17th Fed chair who's taking over for Jerome Powell as Reserve, Bitcoin Maxi, in the 17th year of the Bitcoin experience, on a Covfefe day, no less, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, guys. That's like kind of a massive like signal, if anything, that like the federal structure of the reserve that has no reserves and is not federal is absolutely changing in ways that we can't even fathom. So I don't know, like, what do you guys think about that? Don't you guys think that's kind of like a major victory for us?
Like I was saying before we started, right? Either we're being gaslit by somebody who's having a good laugh at the fact that we pay attention to numbers, or maybe it's actually legitimate. It's notable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it has anything to do? So, not to cross reference it, but the timing is pretty interesting of the U.S. debt clock and the new addition in the bottom right hand corner of the what do they call it? The total cartel asset forfeiture liability. Do you think there's any relationship there? Because that just when was that updated? It wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess is Elon runs that U.S. debt clock site for sure.
Interesting.
And I've always kind of said I think Elon runs it. I think, paying attention to Doge and stuff. Everybody says it's so funny because I'll get on those spaces, dude, and Eric and them, they're like, the CIA runs that. I'm like, the CIA is running an exposure op on the Ponzi scheme of the American dollar. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like a very smart move to like talk about, the relationship to gold and silver and all these different things. Plus, you've got like, remember when they posted like the G Money and the Devolution right next to each other?
Yeah.
Was that fucking nuts? Like, I'm not trying to say it was about me, but like,
well, but you could see like it's like, what do you talk about? Like, so maybe it was right.
Then they moved it because it was initially 24 and 25, and I just went back and looked, and they moved our slides to 31 and 35. Talk about like another Covfefe. It's like, what is? I mean, we're definitely being fucked with, and so I don't know. It's just kind of annoying because, here we are sitting on games of Trumps and all these other shit that we think we found out, which we probably have. Mm-hmm. It's just they're just like, nope, you guys are just way too fucking early, and they're laughing at us, I'm sure.
Oh my, yeah, that Bitcoin space. Like the other night, I was listening to Gary, and the other guys in there were talking about, yeah, this G Money guy. They kind of like randomly brought you up, so like you're in their headspace, and but they're like, yeah, there's a plan. They're gonna save us or whatever, and I'm just like, I wanted to like grab the microphone and be like, guys, you guys have not done any kind of homework. But then again, that's where we're at though too. Like, if you don't know, if you had no knowledge or concept of what Q actually was, you're not going to get the full picture of Bitcoin, and vice versa. You're not like there's a disconnect still.
And it's like, go ahead, man. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, no, sorry. So I'm thinking it's kind of like the domestication mindset, though. It seems like that is the one thing that they cannot cross mentally. But as soon as you cross it, everything else starts making sense. It's just like a snowball.
Hey,
it's weird too because it's like one data point. Like, obviously it doesn't prove any of my research, but like my research has been going on for like, I don't know how many years now. It's like kind of crazy that it's like the culmination of all these data points are not a coincidence,
Mm-hmm.
No.
How could it be? I think if you think in those terms, I mean, I have sort of trained my mind to just not think in absolutes and only think in probabilities, but like beyond the point of coincidence. I mean, and the other thing too is like, it's just a coincidence that certain posts specifically call out how many proofs before, until it's not a coincidence. It's like, what a coincidence.
And so these are actual like Q proofs, like living Q proofs. You know what I mean? Like the 17th Fed on a 513 in the 17th. Like, that's a legitimate, in my opinion, that's a drop that happened yesterday, right? Almost. It's like we're living through them now because if they haven't, and I was funny because I turned on, Stormy Patriot abs the other day, and like they're going back to like these Q posts from like 2018 and like putting all these arrows and like it's so like asinine, I think, at this point. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Structure. Like that's the only thing that makes sense right now in the entire, like every single data point that's going on right now. It's all about structure.
But they keep resorting to politics. They keep resorting to proof of stake networks. They keep resorting to who is our next God King. And it's like, but I honestly, I'm a little frustrated because I also think like we're almost moving too slowly at this point. Like, God, we need some mass like awakening, like bombs, like quick. Like, what do we do? Like, we either need a Bitcoin price to just rip people's faces off, or we need some mass awakening of like tax riots or something. Because, like, I mean, let's be honest, like, we're still just a very fringe fucking group of frogs on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, here's another, not to bring it back up, but the U.S. debt clock, there's a couple of things that jumped out at me because I hadn't been looking at it. But if you look at it now in the top left-hand corner, I don't know if you want to pull it up, Krash. There's now underneath the U.S. national debt, there's a U.S. Treasury reserve that's counting up and it's almost to the same level. It's at 31 trillion. And
Is
then
it
it's
really?
and then it's got a refund.
I wonder what's going to happen on July 4th then. Do you think
that's what to your point that you just made is maybe that is the thing, right? And then you take that, the federal victory note, right? If you go to the secret window, it's funny. I actually am laughing at myself.
Right down here on the bottom.
Well, that's the cartel forfeiture, but the where's the other
one? Top left.
Oh, Treasury
U.S.
Reserve.
national debt. Yeah. And then if you go to the secret window, an incentive-based society, well, what would an incentive-based society be based on, right? Thermodynamic.
Value creation?
Yeah. Right. Actual value creation. And it's got 0% income tax, 0% property tax, 0% gains tax. So if you click on the top right there on the secret window, that's what it says, coming soon. How soon? Maybe in a few weeks, July 4th, possibly? I don't know. That would possibly do it, G, is like, here, let me spell this out for you people in the back, the slow ones, right? Like, you're free. You're not a slave anymore. You can leave.
That's what I keep thinking, like, about the whole tax thing. Like, what if they just totally defanged a lot of that stuff for people? Like, like maybe they're still going after the criminals. They're going after the people that actually, were bad actors. But what about the rest of the people? Like, you know what? Just send them notices. And if they still comply, like, that's on them. But people aren't thinking big enough. The Bitcoiners aren't thinking big enough. The Q-tards aren't thinking big enough. And this is massive. I always took those words literally, like, this is the biggest thing ever, right? Ever. Yeah. And what could be bigger than an entire new financial system that's been tested for the last 17 years, that's been onboarding all these different things. Now we're getting tokenization coming full circle, I don't know, man. I'm just so bullish on all this stuff. And
then Trump, right before going to China, he's like, I could care less about America's financial situation.
when in fact, it's actually the root of everything he's doing.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's so funny, man.
You want to fight? You'll never take my Bitcoin. Like, share, subscribe to Frogs and Friends.
I think that his rhetoric and this sort of like perception of it is also an indicator of the whatever the big boom may be that's coming is just going to completely erase it all. Like it's going to be like, it kind of makes me think of that slings and arrows statement, right? Like, I'll take all the slings and arrows. He's also giving people a lesson in why God Kings suck. It doesn't matter who they are. If it's your God King or somebody else's, fuck that, man. Everybody's on the same playing field. And it's like, if you want to give away your power and you want to be a domesticated cuck, that's your business. But I don't think that's the way that we're supposed to exist personally. And I'm sure everybody agrees with that on the call, but.
Well, I was going to say, you kind of made me think of something with how things are going slower than what we think they should be. As far as the tax stuff, do you think that's why, like, return of capital, rock dividends and such, like, are like the big thing, like the past 2 years now, or a year, is like, yeah, these guys are not going to fight for themselves. So, like, this is like kind of like a little bit of a handicap here to where they don't have to pay taxes, or like,
yeah, well, I mean, look, Scott Bassett came out and told everybody to change their tax filing status to exempt.
Yeah,
I've been saying that. I've been saying that for years. I've been showing people how to do it. Here's the form. Cross this out. File exempt. And here we have Scott Bassett. It's just, I don't know, man. It's crazy how, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just in my own head, but I think like a lot of what I've been saying is like coming full circle now. So it's kind of
Hmm.
crazy. And I think what N said the other day is like, hey, it seems slow, but here we're going to get so much winning that I don't even think we're prepared for what that looks
Oh
like.
yeah.
And I think N is hitting on something there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the
And Trump
last
said
couple.
maybe we're going to write a little crypto check, right, or something. And that always is in the back of my head
Yeah.
too about ending the federal debt. So that's kind of funny.
Dude, I responded to Ann on that, and because I literally had this discussion with my wife. I'm like, it's actually scary. If you really think about what the potential here is, it is scary because you don't even know what that is. Like you've never been there.
Mhm.
And then I told Ann, well, she looked at me like I was retarded. It's like, dude, you don't understand. It's gonna be crazy. You're not even gonna understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and it's almost. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead, G.
Well, I was just gonna say it's like that. We were talking about that Bible verse. It was something to where I gotta pull it up, but like when it happens, like the people that got in like are going to be our benefit the most obviously in that transfer value, but like it can't go slow so that everybody can prepare for it, right? Like it almost has to catch everybody off of guard. Like that's the point of this entire plan is like no, you like not everybody's going to get it, and the people that got it are supposed to get it, and that's the people we're going to have to run with kind of thing. I think that like the maximum exposure has happened, and I don't think, British is right, dude. Like retail's fucking cooked, man. I talk to
Yeah,
people all the
it's
time, like
absolutely cooked.
they're cooked,
But
and they're like, I don't.
that's the point. I think that's what was scary to me is the responsibility because that saying where Bitcoiners are going to become the elites, the new elite. That's a lot of responsibility, and maybe that is the scary part. Like, hey, are you just going to go build your own citadel and exit out of society? No, you now have a responsibility. It's up to you. Let's carry the torch and build the new world. That is a scary responsibility.
This is all happening and Warsh has even commented on this, and I don't have the specifics, but the result of AI and automation is deflation, right? And then what is the solution to the old system is inflation. So those two things balancing everything out, right? You're pumping all the energy into the new foundation of the new system, um, which is essentially just Bitcoin layer one. And then you can build everything you want on top of that. And I was talking to Krash about like all the other speculative assets and the XRP and all this. All it's like, what's the point of any of that when you're really tapped into actual energy? There's really no point for it to exist. So like all of those things really point to a world of abundance. Then the question is, well, what does that look like? I mean, I think anybody living in the future is going to be living better than the richest people today. I just think that I don't even know. It's like, what if it just loses meaning, right? Like this idea of elite and the wealthy, just sort of like, I'm not saying in a communist kind of way, but just in general, it's like, yeah, maybe you can build like a spaceship if you want. Like there'll be some transfer of energy there, but at a certain point, if everything's abundant and the cost of living is significantly lower and everybody's situation is improved, and we just sort of start up on this trajectory, then what does it actually mean to be a Bitcoin, maxi in the future? What does that actually translate
Well,
to?
so meta does it mean that we go back to the age of exploration, right? So right
Hopefully,
now, I mean, everything's been explored, everything's been purchased. We're all just kind of living on other people's land. And I think that's really where opening up space. Now all of a sudden there's an entire frontier that anybody can go explore. I think it's just that new fundamental change that land is just the base layer. There's so much more to discover above it.
Yeah.
how are we going to get over the ice wall?
Hey, space is fake, guys. There's nothing happening out in
Well,
space.
yeah, because you got the real estate of outer space and then also cyberspace as well.
Cyberspace is going to be huge.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I'm excited about the AI stuff, to be honest with you. But yeah, you're right. But the deflationary nuclear bomb is like the fucking final death blow to this credit-based system, right? Because they're
Yeah.
just going to have to print as much money as possible. And so like, yeah, like we're going to be stuck in that middle of that battle, and it's all going to come to a head at some point. Um, But
I think the
yeah.
I think the Bitcoin benefits are mostly in near and midterm when generally the average person has a much better quality of life and a lower cost of living, it's going to not be as profound but I mean, yeah, like you think about 3D printing and how far that's going and all the other kinds of things that we can't even imagine yet, like a lot of those personalized like air like I don't know why I always think about flying when I think about quality of life stuff, but stuff like that. I think it's a lot of it's also just kind of hard to imagine now because it's kind of like talking to somebody before the Industrial Revolution. Somebody that's like all excited about how much hay they have because they can feed their horse, and all of a sudden now you're saying, well, yeah, you can drive 100 miles on this petroleum product. It's like, how do you even reconcile that? I don't know that we are going to have the tools mentally to do that until we can start to see it evolve.
Well, and it's funny too because like everything else, all-time highs, the Nasdaq, right? All the stuff, and Bitcoin's still like chilling at its other lows, and so you're like, Trump's just going to print the fuck out of everything, and so he's not going to leave any. I think a lot of people are going to get brought along, but Bitcoin is just going to pump so much more eventually, and so it's a sleeper right now. It's absolutely a sleeper.
Yeah.
Retail's cooked. I just talked to a guy today. I said, I just sold some Bitcoin and I'm going to invest in like tech and SpaceX.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, SpaceX has Bitcoin on their balance sheet, so they're just, you're just kind of, reinvesting in almost kind of the same thing. But retail just chases the fads, man, and they're not getting it. And I think comes a time when like the population has been exhausted in the amount of exposure to this new frontier that's happening, and then when we get that initial crack up boom that Dark Side likes to talk about, like there's going to be people left holding the bag on one side and there's going to be us on the other, and half of us going to be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're in for some kind of a surprise.
Wouldn't the timing of that be pretty impressive though, as far as the overall trade? Is if July 4th there was an announcement that the strategic reserve had already been in motion and that there was an arrangement made and whatever, but there was already a sizable position. There's going to continue to be more, addition to it, and then Warsh drops the interest rate. So then it's like the strategic reserve is being given the dollar value, sort of can run after they've announced that. So there are going to be two things that are driving that, and it's just going to make essentially the treasury more valuable.
Yeah, I think there's some big news on July 4th, and it would be funny if like the ultimate rug pull is like Trump just comes out with a new NFT collection on Solana. Like talk about like a fucking funny ass like hat tip, but like this is still happening type of thing.
I don't know if I can handle if that's the big reveal on July 4th.
Honestly, that's what we deserve. That's what we deserve at this point, to be honest with you.
The Trump Jello of the Month Club.
He's going to release a new 1776 NFT series that just pisses all the Bitcoin maxis off, delays it for another 6 months, and just, I think that's going to be the funny fucking rug pull we're going to get. Funny enough.
Yeah, I think with Warsh's rates, like that could be another rug pull. G is that he actually comes in and raises some rates.
Yeah, I'm not a fan that he's going to lower. I think lowering rate. I don't think he's going to lower rates, to be honest, but we'll see.
Okay, yeah, that would certainly be a rug pull to a lot of people in the market.
Well,
and that's what Trump's been doing.
What was it? Inflation 3.8. Yeah.
Right.
So,
but that's what Trump's been doing with the oil stuff. He's been rugging the markets left, right.
Did you post something about they're trying to pull labor out of their mandate for Fed Reserve?
What do you mean?
Their metrics, like their mandate. It's maximum employment, and then what's the other one? It's monetary
maximum employment and
it's the money supply or whatever, or something.
Keep interest rates low, or keep inflation 2%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but didn't they say something about that they're going to take away the mandate of maximum employment? Well, if that's the case, I mean, if we're thinking about the deflation era that we're going into, because I don't know if you guys saw that video of the figure robot. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yes.
Francis posted it. It was like the figure robot, and it was like just sorting packages, but it was doing it super fast.
Oh, yeah. It was like it looked like it was just from the waist up that the robot even.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the crazy thing about this, right, is that it's a neural net. So every robot, whatever that robot learns, every robot knows it.
Okay, yeah.
So they know that this is coming. Like robots are going to start replacing, human capital.
Hmm.
So I just thought that was interesting that the mandate for the Fed is no longer maximum employment,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Like I haven't seen too much. I would imagine mainstream would just go freaking crazy with that. Like, what do you mean not maximum employment? What are you saying? Like the robots are going to take over and we're not going to be able to do anything? You know what I mean? I haven't seen any hyperventilation about it, but I just thought it was an interesting metric if they actually do change that.
Well, there was an interesting stat where, uh, as far as like people losing jobs, we never had people losing jobs like this and earnings be this high. It's like
Yeah,
we never seen this like divergence of the two, and that's a little bit to your point there, Adam.
yeah. So it's like they're not telling us on purpose and letting everybody hyperventilate
Hmm.
because they already know something that, dude, stop fucking worrying about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really
You,
feels like they
you,
already know something's coming.
universal high income
Yeah.
is what Elon called it.
Right. And then even the what was the other one? Moonshots were saying there are like other universal plays like universal health that would be better. Universal investment, I think, would be better than just having
Yeah,
high
it's where
income.
everybody has like a stake in like a skin in the game. Like
Yeah, it's
everyone
not like
has
just
a
people
gig,
being
so at least they have
lazy.
some,
You
yeah,
know.
like some form of ownership, so they could get a stake or some kind of dividend back.
Yeah.
And I think if you really think about it, ownership is the only thing that people seem to actually give a shit about. If they have something, they have to have some kind of stake in it. Otherwise, they don't give a shit.
Well,
Hmm.
along the bottom of this, where the total cartel asset forfeiture liability is, there's an interesting set of fields. I don't know if they were at the same time, and it says it's a U.S. Treasury 100% asset-backed dollar sovereign wealth reserve, and it shows a precious metal, whatever, mineral reserves, real estate, land, stock market, and wealth asset reserves, which is at
Okay.
like
Yeah.
213 trillion. And it says the wealth per citizen is 622,000.
Oh wait, look at
With
this wealth best. What about this JFK thing? Is that new?
where's that?
Oh yeah,
USA.
it's popped up.
What the fuck is that? I've never seen that. Look at 1110 on there. Oh shit. Where did that come from? That just pop up?
No, it wasn't there before.
Oh,
Screenshot that.
and then
Oh,
it just went
Oh,
away. Hang on, it just went away. Where'd it go?
I don't even know what you guys are looking at.
oh, you missed the screen, dude. There's
you see
JFK
it,
Oh, right
crash
Krash?
there.
popped
Oh,
up.
there it is.
Oh,
Oh
It's
shit.
under future USA Treasury dollars.
Yeah, screenshot that. Put it in. I'll forward it to the channel.
yeah. Like what I want to know really, and I think, gee, you might be onto something. Maybe this is Elon's project or somebody in the know. Is where are they even getting the variables for the
Yeah,
math on this
exactly.
thing?
Right.
Well, I think it's funny too is that if you go try to like you can buy the app, but they charge you like $9 or something in the app store if you want it on your phone. So I think that's funny. I've never spent the money to do that, but I'm like, why are you charging me? Like it's free on your site. You're gonna charge me to download the app? I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet and do it one day because there might be some fun shit in there too. Is there a crypto dollar to crypto on there too? Dollar to gold, dollar to gold, dollar to gold. Yeah, dollar to crypto. 861 to a dollar.
And what does that even mean? What are they
Yeah, dollar
basing
to
that
crypto
on?
Yeah.
ratio now. Dollar to crypto ratio 2013. Yeah, who the fuck knows?
It's so many numbers here. Holy shit. But yeah, I guess is anyone I guess surprised here with what we heard this morning from Xi and Trump? Now, who maybe the Adam, it was you. I don't know who said it in the Frogs and Friends chat. That how with Trump with all the Iran deals, Trump is like the first one coming out and saying, "Hey, we got a deal." This time on this trip here now with China, China's the one that's saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
we got a deal done, basically." You
Yeah.
want to touch
Well,
on
I
that?
think yeah, well, I think that's going to be impactful, right? Because the media has this reverence for China. And so if China comes out and says, "Oh, yeah, hey, it would be better off if we work together and prosper versus be rivals," which seems to be from the mainstream perspective like this, "Oh my God, we've never heard this from Chairman Xi before." But it's like they have to hear it from the chairman of the communist, massive state that's so super intelligent and way above us versus the dumbass Trump, orange man bad. You know what I mean? Like it's just gotta like, in order for the public to actually like let the switch flip in their mind that, hey, you know what, maybe this is good. They have to hear it from them, or from them first versus Trump. Otherwise, it's always be the exact opposite.
Yeah. That obviously, with like fake news and shit, they can't play around with it, to your point.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
interesting. It's
they
interesting.
do play around with it. Maybe they say, well, oh, see, Trump's working for Z. Z is in control.
I've heard, dude, I've seen that
Like,
so much yesterday.
That's the segment that's they're all cooked, man.
Dude, it's getting worse every day. It seems like, holy hell, it's very depressive. It's very, now even for like, I know some black pillars, and it is very depressive. But even like on these spaces, it goes like 10 times worse. Like even earlier today, the Bitcoin space had Cratter on.
I know.
Like
I hopped in late because I was on the Roxham TV thing.
Okay.
Cradham's just a useful idiot, man. Like, and the dangerous thing about him though is he's got a lot of followers, and so you got a guy with a bunch of followers. He's sending a bunch of fucking psychopaths off the deep end, attacking David Bailey, attacking, and it's just like, fuck, man. Like you have a reach. You're doing actually a disservice, and you're being very divisive by attacking the people that are like most beneficial to the community for like, some kind of virtue signal, which in the end you're going to be wrong. So it's just a huge bridge to fall on. And, I was even arguing with Walker earlier about Trump's shitcoin. They were just like, well, he's a shitcoiner. I go, Walker, give me the baseline, man. Did Trump launching a shitcoin bring more people to crypto or less people to crypto? He's like, well, it brought more people, but I'm like, they're just not getting it. It's like,
what was a fucking quote that you posted? It was like, it was some dude. He's just like, I really hate Trump, but I think that orange faggot for getting me into crypto or like for scamming me up the fucking. Oh my god! Dude, laughed that hard.
It's a classic comment, dude. It was hilarious, and I was like, "This is exactly what happened." It's like you should get mad because honestly, that's what the system has been doing to you for 100 fucking years. You just haven't realized it. Now it's like in your face, getting burned. Ouch, that stings. Instead of like this slow, prolonged theft that you haven't really noticed that is actually more detrimental to your health than just the quick flash burn, that you get away from the pain and you move on, right? Whereas a slow parasite picking at you for years is a lot more deadly to you in the long run. And so I think that's just what's happening. Like you're either going to get the rug quickly, and you're going to learn from it, or you're going to, you're going to die of depression, man. So
it's that's a real quote, or like a real statement there. Like people will die of depression like that
just to fucking protect their ego. It's like, Jesus Christ, just fucking calm down. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
sorry, it's okay to be wrong.
And well, that's the thing, to the earlier point, as to people cannot get past their ego, and also people are scared of their ego, and also scared of responsibility. That's like another thing that people don't want to, especially I would say in the modern age, like the past 40, 50 years or so, like people just don't want responsibilities. Like
no accountability, no responsibility. Yeah.
Yep.
Just fucking
it's also
with a herd.
like they're not able to be them true selves because they're always reliant on providing for something that for their assets. I think about like the LinkedIn corporate culture, right? Like they have to toe the line. They can't be too political. They can't say anything. Like they're literally domesticated in the most crazy way, because the things they own actually in turn own them, because they realize if they lose their job, they lose the ability to pay for the shit that they're fucking making payments on.
100%.
And so like when you don't even think about that sometimes, right? Like, oh no, that's just the normal way people react, and it's funny because like I see these people on LinkedIn, like I'm so grateful for this opportunity to act like
the corporate buzzword here.
Yeah, I look at that, I'm just like, oh my God,
You'll
these
be.
fucking people.
Yeah, I always take pride in that, and I knew when I was doing it. I worked in corporate America, a white collar job for quite a long time, and I always resisted having a LinkedIn profile. I just something about it always struck me as just kind of gross. And we're going back to like 2013, 2011. People are like, "This is about your career," and this and that. It's like, I don't really want to I don't want people to know where I'm going and what I'm thinking about, and mix my personal and my professional career. I mean, it's like a paycheck, It's like but man, so many people committed to that, and I took a lot. There was one company where we had an executive. He was big on that because he was always about squeezing every opportunity out of every relationship, and you can't do that unless you're networking and all this nonsense. And I resisted, and I look back at it now and I'm like, hell yeah, had the right gut instinct. But man, that you nailed that perfectly. That culture, HR culture, is something else I like to call it, because I think those two things
Yeah.
go hand in hand. That is, by the way, they are the most at risk for losing their jobs.
Oh yeah.
They're seriously like that. That is the most, that tier of our GDP. And really, I don't think there's a better deserving demographic to at least feel that, because I don't think it's going to matter at the end of the day. But like near term, I mean, I never met a more useless group of people that just hid in the folds of these corporations, and all they did was attend meetings and optimize their Outlook inbox, and the shit that they would find that to fill their time with that didn't actually provide any value. It's like literally the epitome of fiat, of proof of stake fiat shitcoin world.
Mhm.
Meta, the only way to deprogram these people is for them to lose everything. That's it. Like it's so hard to deprogram those people. It's like we used to joke about it. It's like everyone's stuck in golden handcuffs. Like they
Mm-hmm.
just cannot get their mind out of it, and they have to lose everything to get
Well,
out.
they're not going to lose everything, right? They're going to have their house, and they're going to have inflated assets. And so I don't think they're going to lose everything. They're just going to lose everything in terms of big. So for a lot of them, they're not going to think they lost, right? Because
Yeah,
they're like,
that's
oh,
true.
my life is good. I've got my house. I've got a ton of equity. Like, I don't think Trump's going to make them lose everything. It's just like Bitcoiners are going to have way more, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
like they're going to lose the ability to buy Bitcoin, because like, look, dude, at this stage, like those people aren't coming, man. They're not coming.
No.
Like no matter what you do, like they might buy a fucking stretch product, maybe in 5 years, maybe,
Mhm.
but a lot of them, they're just not coming. And so if they're not coming, you know, um, and even when Bitcoin rips everybody's faces off, they're not coming. They're especially not coming,
Yeah.
right? They're like,
Well, I
Yeah.
missed it.
it's
I
way
missed
too
it.
late. I missed it. Yeah, for sure they missed it by then. Um, and that's just, I think, more that like this is more about the youth, right? This is more about the younger generation totally getting it, getting on board, and really convincing them. Because I think the retail, the older boomers, like they're most of them are cooked, man. They're totally cooked.
Join the transition transmission. Like, share, and subscribe to Frogs and Friends.
Do you see what's kind of your thoughts here, G? Like when you're at the Bitcoin conference and like all these different places, do you see obviously you see way more youth, but are you impressed by how much youth there is, or you still think that's lagging?
No, I still think, I mean, there's still a lot of shit coinery on stuff out there, and the youth is still definitely lagging because they're wrapped up in gambling and fucking parlays and
Yeah.
all the
Yep.
sports
Yeah.
betting and shit. And so, we've got a big course correction ahead of us. The kids have attention spans of a gnat. They always want to be entertained, and so thank God, right? Because like moving into this new world, like they wouldn't like we were cooked. Like there's not enough of them to fight in the future, right? There's literally not enough. Like Gen X, I think, is like the
Yep.
last beacon, right? The last beachhead of this thing, and we're gonna course correct it. And but after that, it's gonna be up to them, man. And that's kind of like it's kind of like natural selection, man. It's just gonna be like the humans that get it are gonna get it, and the ones that don't. And we're gonna have this natural evolution. Um, but we're not going to protect, the retard class and the parasites that have been just living off of fake energy this entire time. So
No.
it's a crazy new world we're going into for sure.
Now does that kind of go hand in hand here with AI, as in coming in replacing a lot of the work? Because in to what Elon says and what a lot of other people are saying, there is not going to be much of a population. Like the population is going down these next decade or two. And does that kind of like, or is that just like a nice little coincidence where AI is going to be doing a lot of the labor stuff?
Crash. So you got a couple of things going on, right? So you've got longevity coming,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of interesting because maybe we're going to need to keep Gen X around and healthy long enough for this transition, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But the second piece is the youth of what G is talking about. Like the attention spans are even worse than like, the rest of the general the older populace. The thing is like they don't have any stake in this system right now. And I think the reawakening of the pioneering spirit, like of space and cyberspace and things like that, may reawaken them. But like to G's point, they're not very tough. They're not used to exercising grit. So I think AI comes in there and builds the safety guardrails for them to just kind of keep them where they need to be and comfortable in their own space, but still moving forward. And really, like it's Gen X's job to get in, get dirty, help get this thing transitioned over. And maybe the longevity drugs come in and we're living to 150 because this thing takes a long time. I don't know, but
yeah,
I mean, both things are true. Both things are coming.
I don't even know if we need longevity drugs. We could just stop getting poisoned. That might help.
Well, so I think, yeah. So, but I think about this, like Elon's constantly talking about civilizational collapse because we're not reproducing. Mm-hmm. So how else do we get out of that than to elongate the lifespans of the people
I think you're onto something.
Try to turn it around.
I actually think I'd never even thought of that. I actually think you're onto something there because, I don't. I can see it, and I know if you guys run across this, you all look pretty good. I don't know how old you all are. I'm hitting 50 this year, and I see people my age, and I'm just like, holy shit, man! Like I don't, I hike up and down the road I live on almost every day, and most people probably couldn't do that without taking multiple breaks. It's keeps me pretty fit, but I'm not like running marathons or anything. I mean, I'm just fit for my age, but I think that a lot of people are unhealthy, specifically in our country, because the glyphosate thing and all the other shit that's artificial, right? Like if you stop doing that, a lot of people won't have problems with their metabolic. Like Dana White talks about methylation. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Gary Brecka. Yeah. A lot of people have problems like that are and a lot of the sources of that stuff is coming from pharma and coming from the pesticides and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Like a lot of the shit, 90% of the shit, you can cure yourself. Like, and it's coming from the poison from the last 50 to 80 years.
Diet related. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Now, there are like a few that are like you do got to really get in there and work at. But overall, though, like I think just that, like you said, like that in and of itself, eliminating the poison expands you to a healthy 80 plus years. But also with the technology, though, too, we're getting another 40 years. So you're netting like 80
guys are
years.
talking 150.
Yeah. You're netting a plus 80 years.
How long can your head last inside of a jar and implanted in a giant mech, right? Yeah. Like a robot suit.
No, we're just going to upload it to G Optimus, bro. We're just going to get G Optimuses, and then we're just going to upload consciousness to it. We don't need to fucking. I guess you can put the brain in there. I think we just upload our consciousness to my Bitcoin stack, right? I mean, I'm going to upload my consciousness to my Pepe, to my G Money Pepe, and I'm just going to live in cyberspace, bro.
That'd be pretty badass.
Incredible.
But that kind of like with G's point where like even like the boomers aren't going to lose everything and stuff like that. Like, is that where this part of the operation comes in here too with like the preferreds, like Stretch and Sata and such? Like, because me and Meta were talking pre-show here about even with like just broke today, like Strive Sata is doing daily dividends now. So like that kills the interest on anything that you put that loan up against. And how we were talking last week, there like exchanges and like loans that you could take out against the house with Sata and Stretch. So like you're constantly paying down that principal.
Although all of this sounds amazing, Frogs N Frens is not financial advice.
That's People's Reserve. They're launching, ironically, I think on July 4th too. That's always interested me. I know G's talked to him, CJ, and but that's an interesting, right? Because the way a mortgage actually amortizes, and they're kind of shit, to be honest. I mean, they kind of just lock you in for 30 years, and you're paying way more
No.
energy for something that's it should be a depreciating asset, right? You got to maintain it. Houses are a pain in the ass. But yeah, it raises that question, right? Like the way that mortgages are front loaded, the interest you're paying mostly interest up front, but when you have this daily stream of distributions, you're basically offsetting that. The compounding effect doesn't have the same kind of effect overall, right? You end up paying a lot less interest and a lot more principal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what's
That
funny
is
too,
like,
is like
yeah, go
people
ahead,
taking
G.
out, well, let's just say people taking out loans on houses. Like, it's going to be funny because my cousin just bought this big house, and like, he's a woke libtard, of course, but like, it's just going to be funny. I'll be like, fuck, man, why did I spend all that money on a house? I should have just bought Bitcoin. But it's funny how they're just giving them every avenue to for crypto and Bitcoin to infiltrate it into, and people are still going to buy houses and think, there's still going to be people that want that. So I just think it's funny when they realize like they put 100 grand down into not a very good appreciating asset. Their equity's locked up, when they could have just bought Bitcoin and like leased something. Or so I think that's going to be a funny dynamic too, is watching real estate eventually kind of be like, yo, what if, like, I think that's going to return to its utility value,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but it's going to be it's
100%.
going to be kind of like a slow creech back down, because rug pulling the boomers all at once, like they literally fucking lose their minds.
Well, the way that they present some of their products, one of their products is a Bitcoin. It's like a self-paying mortgage,
Yeah.
and all you have to do is like if you look at Bitcoin next to real estate, what it's done and what it will do. I mean, you'll end up with just a zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin that literally just exceeds the value of the property so fast over the coming years, because I think it's only going to accelerate as we kind of leave trajectory, right? Like the escape velocity, the real escape velocity, that you'll need less and less Bitcoin as collateral to buy whatever you
Right.
want. And so if you put down, say, for example, right now, if you wanted $500,000 property, whatever it is, it's like, what would that be? Like seven, right? No, eight, about like seven Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
seven-ish. Then as the Bitcoin value goes up, you can remove the collateral that
Yeah.
it doesn't cover the balance of the loan. Or you can actually, and I wouldn't do this, but you could let the Bitcoin appreciation actually pay off the note as it goes up. So,
Yeah. So I mean, that's to your point, Krash. I mean, that's the bailout to the boomers. The boomers that, like, I don't think home prices are going to change much. It's just the alternative assets are going to change, right? So
Yeah.
Bitcoin is just going to keep appreciating while theirs stays kind of roughly the same, and they're fine, and then they're just going to sunset out
well,
and then
and
change into a new system.
there's a number of ways the boomers could be sort of, I guess, the soft landing kind of scenario could play out. The other one that it's really obvious is just that MSTR or strategy gets re-rated as a AAA, credit issuer, and they get adopted into the S&P 500. And as
Yeah.
their value increases, it offsets. Essentially, just think of it as a pie, right? They're a bigger piece of the pie. Anybody that's long software at this point, seeing AI on the horizon,
Yeah,
honestly, they really deserve to be completely liquidated
they
for
do.
holding Meta stock or whatever. And I don't know how the companies like Meta and Microsoft are going to adapt to the future that we're staring down the barrel of. But essentially, that I think is what's going to happen, is that Bitcoin treasury companies and essentially Bitcoin is going to take over a bigger portion of their portfolios, and that's going to be their off ramp, right? They're going to get less of the percentage of the energy sort of appreciation of the underlying asset. So, but their quality of life is going to be pretty much the same or comparable,
Yeah.
maybe even better.
That's the thing. Like my dad and like other people are like, I don't need to invest in Bitcoin. I'm too old or whatever. I got my Roth or 401k or whatever. And like that is but they don't even know what they're investing in the 401k.
Yeah,
That's the thing that
no,
blows my mind to begin with. And then also once strategy does come in to S&P 500, then that is where people are going to be invested in Bitcoin, and they don't even know it.
They're still living in that trust system, right? Well,
Yeah.
my financial planner's got it covered.
Yeah. That
And that's what I'm
I
wondering. I'm still wondering, like, what's going to happen there? Are we going to get the crisis that Trump has to solve through tokenization, or are they just going to fix it, kind of like through these clarity acts and tokenization, and slowly it just kind of like takes over without the crash? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, can Trump afford a crisis?
I think that that's a great question, G. I've wondered about that a lot. I think realistically is just like look at the last 6 years, and I always kind of recheck in with my perception of like what I expected to happen and what actually happened. And it always is like more of an unraveling as opposed to like a big spike. It doesn't mean we can't run into some kind of a shock, but COVID was a shock, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching Bitcoin, and I was sitting there like I didn't pull the trigger like I should have, but I watched it go down into the threes again, and I was like, holy shit! Like I knew what I was looking at, and that was shocking. I just don't know. I don't know that it has to be that dramatic. Because really, if you think about it, like yeah, like Adam, like you just said, it doesn't really. But I don't know if it even matters if the of the
Yeah,
optics
and,
of
and I think
Trump,
like
right?
I think with the clarity act, like these banks are just going to slowly adopt stable coins, and they're all of a sudden they're going to be fully collateralized banks at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas the stock
recapitalized.
market, yeah, where the stock market will maybe do the same thing where they slowly start to tokenize, and so slowly it will end all the dark trades and the rehypothecation of securities, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's only going to take a couple big companies to do it. So as soon
Right.
as
And Larry Fink's leading the charge, and the
yeah,
DTCC's on
exactly.
board too. So
the way I've heard it described, Peter Dunworth calls it, I think, recapitalization. So it's essentially Bitcoin becomes the base layer and essentially keeps all of these, and all the derivatives are all tied back to something that is auditable every 10 minutes and keeps all of them honest. So, and then, yeah, as tokenization kind of rises, and the question I have is like, what is the point of SUI and Ethereum and all those things if the base layer is Bitcoin and everything is tied into Bitcoin through layer ones? And I know you guys have used Lightning, but Liquid works pretty well too. All of that stuff is kind of working and operational today. So from a tokenization standpoint, and the whole XCP use case, I don't see how that isn't what it is, how it becomes that way. Because why else would you do anything else? How else would you audit it, right? If you have all these shitcoin proof of stake networks that are all operating in their own way, like what's the as far as like maintaining some peg to a store of value that
why
is.
would you as a larger company want to trust a proof of stake network again? Yeah,
There's no reason to.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
recapitalizing, and then I think it just becomes the gold standard for, people will start to understand, right, what counterparty risk actually is, and that'll start to affect whether or not, because like the problem with counterparty risk in today's system and the credit agencies are full of shit, right? They were saying all that crap that they were selling back during the house, the crisis, the financial crisis, 2008, was like AAA rated because it had a variety of shitty underlying subprime loans mixed into it. So like we don't even, because all a credit agency is another proof of stake bullshit, system of trust me, bro. But really, I think that raises the standard for actual trust and
You
becomes
know what?
trustless.
I'm kind of thinking about this a little further. So a crisis that I could see coming is a cyber crisis where we have AI agents, breaking bank accounts, like stuff like that. I could actually see that as an impetus for tokenization. Like that type of crisis really isn't Trump's fault. It's really no one's fault. I mean, the WEF, I think, is calling that the next COVID, right? It's a pandemic.
yeah, someone,
Well,
who
yeah,
was
that
that
guy
that just
just
called that?
recovered. He just recovered it. That guy that just recovered his Bitcoin used AI essentially to kind of pull a bunch of data together.
Was that a
And
real story? I thought maybe that
I,
I didn't look into it, but was that real?
well, if it is real, maybe it doesn't even matter if it's real to make this point. Is that could be a good way to showcase how Bitcoin is, because really now you're getting into agentic swarms, And Bitcoin is the only network that doesn't lean on encoded logic, right? That you actually have to have the energy to truly attack it. So it's the only safe place to tether all these things to in reality, and that we have to go through that process of, yeah, we can't use this, we can't use this. This is the only thing that works, and i.e., you move into this realm of software and why it matters.
And the best part is whatever that is, whatever that breach is, that will be global. So it will be a global solution one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it Basen or somebody posted that a couple weeks ago, tweeted that and said that the next big crisis is going to be a banks being broken into by AI
Yeah.
within
And
the
I
next
think it
year.
was because of Anthropic's Mythos release.
Okay.
Because remember, they called everybody together and they said, hey, look, this thing's finding like security
That's right.
vulnerabilities
Yeah.
that been sitting for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so they still only I think they've only released Mythos to like the top 10 or something corporations or something like that. It's a very limited release. So what they're trying to do is learn what these vulnerabilities are so that they can patch them before this gets released to the public. So, I mean, it seems like they're trying to make an effort to it, but I mean, who knows? I could see that as being an impetus to switch over to tokenization very easily.
Now,
and it's funny, I might be helping a company out that's going to be doing some interesting stuff in that realm with the software thesis as the the baseline. So
okay.
Nice.
Very
intriguing.
cool. Yes. Now you guys might be able to help me answer this question. I don't know much. I'm not very familiar with the other like Ethereums and stuff, like how they exactly work. Now what is like the base case? Why are they in like, say, the Clarity Act and such? Like, is it because of their tokenization use? Like, what is like the use case here then? Is it just like what's your can you kind of answer that question for me?
This is all I know. I don't know a ton about it, but I like stable coins, for instance. What I understand, the reason why the treasury is behind it is because it's tokenizing US treasuries so that the entire world can get access to them at a retail level versus an institutional level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as like tokenization is for stocks, it's kind of like, I don't know if you remember that Sailor, was it he was doing a talk. He was explaining like how if Apple were allowed to tokenize its stock,
Mm-hmm.
it could issue stock directly to the public without an exchange all over the globe, and everyone would have their own piece and proof that, hey, this is my token, this is my piece of Apple.
Right.
And have to go through the DCCC or whatever. They don't have to go through any of this stuff, saving a ton of cost, just in that exchange piece. But then again, it opens up the entire world to be able to access your company.
Yeah, right. It makes so much sense.
So
but like none of the Bitcoiners fucking get it, man. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gee, I think you even made a point. Like, you could go start a masonry business and be like, hey, I need $100,000 worth of equipment. I'm going to sell tokens to raise the $100,000 worth of equipment. Now you got a piece of the business, and everyone can self-fund. They don't have to go through these large institutions to do this. It's actually
everybody's response is, well, they can just lie to you. And I mean, they do it to you already. What's the difference if it's on a piece of paper? But I think it's going to really, make the future, like, people are going to really take more priority over their reputations. Like, they're going to really value the reputation of their word, a handshake. I think this stuff is really, because, I think in the future, AI is like, oh, that guy's a fucking scammer. He did this, and that.
100%. Yeah. It's going to be on your readout the first time they meet you.
To solve this Oracle problem of truth, so that things in the real world we can put on smart contracts and like we'll know for sure. But I think AI is the only way you get there. You have to use some kind of AI to triangulate the truth. And like, I hate to say it, but the AI is kind of like this Oracle God in a sense.
100%.
Right? Because it's triangulating truth for everybody. And that's why it's such a, it's a razor's edge. I get why everybody's freaked out about it, because had, Barack Obama George Soros and all these other guys been in charge, 100% we'd be fucked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But, and it looks that way with the Palantirs and the Elons. And I don't know. I see it a different way.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is you know how X used to have community notes, and I think they still do, but
Yeah.
nobody even does that shit anymore. They're like, "Act Rock, did
Yeah.
fucking actually happen, or when did this actually happen, or So it's like real time fact checking. So anyone who's a fucking scammer gets
Yeah.
outed in real time.
Yeah. So that's the Oracle right now, basically. People
Yeah,
listen to it. It's the authority. It's
you
being
can't get
trained right
around.
now. The Oracle is being trained right now on how to, interpret
100%.
real world. And so, mix that AI Oracle into smart contracts, bro. That's,
Yeah,
and we
game
can
fucking over. If you're a scammer, you're
game over. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's true.
The cool thing is like having a record of truth, right? Like think about part of the reason why we are where we are is because history's been told by the victors, right? So that would be impossible in a future where the data is being collected and the truth is interpreted based on the amount of data that and how it's compiled. If you wanted to try to spin a narrative like our friends in like the Zionist sort of narrative, which is failing miserably, you just wouldn't be able to. It's already struggling, right? Uh, just based on this kind of loose system we have right now, but like in the future, that'd be completely impossible, right? Like
Yeah.
people
And,
would just be like, yeah,
yeah, and the AI data centers, right? That all these people are freaked out over. Like, that's the infrastructure we need, man. And they're not getting it. They're
Yeah.
like protesting it and like, acting all crazy. These are like the Luddites, right? Yelling at clouds. And so, yeah, all
it,
Yeah.
those AI data centers are going to feed these new oracles, these arbiters of truth that, people in the past will be able to look and, it'll be stored. There'll be probably some hash function on Bitcoin to make sure, the arbiters remain unbiased in a way. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
it's
So,
funny
like,
how that
guys,
scares people that the autonomy that they'll lose this autonomy as if they have any already.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
yeah.
now,
Like if they're doing their own research as it is, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
yeah.
So when does like we talked about this, I think a little bit last week. So when does the enemy transmission that's sitting within our in our country that's constantly lying to the public, like when the fuck does that go away? Like, and I understand like from an optics perspective, like, oh, you can't harm free speech or you can't like suppress free speech, but it's so egregious at this
I
point.
think it just goes away naturally. Like like, why stop them? Like Elizabeth Warren was going nuts this morning. And she was just exposing herself as being a total clown and
Yeah.
shill for the sake. Like,
Yeah.
why would you want to stop that? It doesn't really help. It's just more people waking up going, oh my God, like this lady's off her rocker. It's like sitting and yelling at a podium and like there's a bunch of people there and then people just start walking away. And they're like,
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
you're
they just
fucking
leave,
crazy.
right? They're just leave. And so
Yeah.
like, is she going to be on that podium yelling to nobody? No, she's only there because people are buying the bullshit she's selling. If
Right.
people
Yeah.
stop buying her bullshit, she's just going to go like either die of depression or go try to find something else to do that actually provides value. And so I think it's funny how they're just like, no, just, what, let them do what they're going to do. We're still winning. The Clarity Act easily passed. And she was like pleading, you guys have 3 amendments. Can't we just have 2 more? Can't you just be nice to us? This doesn't seem, and it's just like, she's pleading and like the guys are like, well, we had your opportunity. We just didn't see a reason why we needed them. And that's
Mhm.
just, and then what the other great part about this is another Democratic senator, her name was Osa Luke's, it was some weird name from Maryland, a junior senator, but she called it a digital revolution. She said, my kids are into it. They want to be part of the
Oh
new
no
economy.
shit.
And so you have the Democrat Party completely fractured, which never happens, by the way. They
No,
all
it
used to
doesn't.
toe the line, stay
Yeah.
together. And so you have here Elizabeth Warren going on and profusing about how bad this is and the scams and the banking and the people are going to have to bail out the crypto. And then you have this other lady calling it a digital revolution and how her kids are super thrilled and how she can't wait to work on this. And so it's like, oh, wow, the cracks are starting to definitely
Yeah.
happen.
Huge.
And
That
that's huge.
that was like watching Jon Stewart and that other clown
Yeah.
talk about
Oh,
And then all of a
dude.
sudden John Stewart just said, well, yeah, but you could also say that, if you're an Iranian citizen and you want to keep your wealth, and it's like, yeah, maybe that's an even bigger epiphany than they're using it. Iran's using it to, as payment for letting the oil tankers through. It's like, you guys are, it's so funny because that entire conversation, I didn't watch the whole thing, but just those snippets of it and how they're on either end of the spectrum of like the actual use case. It's like, yeah, you've taken away this idea of sanctioning and the Swift network and this a proof of stake bullshit. And you basically said, yeah, okay, there are some negative use cases, but holy shit, you could basically evade a tyrannical government. Well done. I just
None
saw
of this
there was
like
a clip somebody posted. Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
no. That's it's making the case. So the anti AI data center people are now realizing, oh, hey, how I escape AI is to get Bitcoin.
Yeah, literally.
So,
I
It's the
think
one
that
thing that
the fucking psyops are beautiful.
you could protect your property, and in the
yeah.
future, that's the thing too, is people in their heads can't get separate property from physicality.
Mhm.
But as soon as you start to realize, like, you know, physical items that can be taken from you are not a good place to store wealth. So that connection, it eventually happens for everybody. It's going to happen for a lot of people later than sooner. But uh, there was another comment in the hearing today. I just saw, I think Francis posted it, that one of the, I don't know who it is. I didn't recognize. I don't know if it looked like Loomis because I didn't zoom in, but
Oh
was
yeah, yeah,
talking about
she
how you
did.
can store Bitcoin in your brain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she did mention that. It was like a minute clip or whatever. Uh, yeah, but I think that's the next biggest case for bullish case for Bitcoin that people are not seeing is that Bitcoin actually protects your identity in a
Yeah.
digital
Oh
age.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like no one's
it is your
thinking.
new identity in the
Yeah.
future.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like anyone can impersonate any one of us, as like what G's has been saying multiple months now on rug pool and such. Like no one's understand that. Either they just don't kind of get where AI is going to be in 3 months, or I don't understand why that's not picking up steam with how much people do hate AI. I don't get that.
That may be something we have to go through from a pain point perspective. I've already tried. I think I told you guys about this. I know I've mentioned it on a couple of our other discussions, but I was explaining to my dad that you can't answer your phone anymore
Yeah.
unless you know who's
Yeah.
calling you, and you can't. And also, you can't just reply to text messages like, "I'll sort all this out. Let me talk to your supervisor." Like, you can't do that, right? Somebody could be recording your voice, and then they could use that to turn around and call your wife and convince her to give them access to the bank account.
Dude,
There's all
11,
kinds of, yeah.
11 labs. It will clone your voice in 10 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep, that's no joke, man. And that makes me think that, like, maybe we have to go through that so people see the use case, or maybe it'll just become obvious at a certain point. But could this the Klaus Schwab warning from years ago could be the thing that we have to go through, and that could be their last stand for all I know. I mean, that could be what it is.
Yeah, and it seems like that's going to accelerate into the end of the year. This tokenization push, the AI push. And so I think what gets squeezed out of that is like, look, there's only one tokenization protocol that can be trusted that's tied to proof of work, that's tied to thermodynamics, that nobody, and so I think I'm still
The
like
best,
super bullish on
the
counterparty. I
best
just
part
don't
is
I don't
people
see any other protocol. Do you guys?
people don't even have to figure this out. AI is going to figure it out for them.
Yeah, that's true.
No, counterparty, that unique feature, and I'm not an expert by any means, but just that the fact that you have to convert it, and that's it. The Bitcoin is gone. It adheres to the thermodynamic principles. So that to me is the thing that, and even just as a model for how that sort of value transfer should work, right? Where you can have this other token, but it's a representation of some energy that was spent. Um, yeah, nothing that I know of. The one thing I was going to ask you, because Krash and I were talking about, G, I'm curious to know your take on it. I know you kind of think there might be something with the actual Doge coin. But any of the other proof of work networks, that are spending power to exist, and what do you think that actually could matter at any point, or is it just redundant really at that
I
point?
mean, I think it's winner take all, dude. Like until
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing, really kind of, falls into Bitcoin, like it's winner take all. I will find it funny that the Trump $100 bill there, Trump always puts 45, 47 on everything,
Hmm.
Yeah.
which is like technically 9/11.
I was just gonna ask you that. Do you
Oh no
think
Okay.
shit.
there's
Yeah,
something to that
shit.
45.7?
Yeah, and then, well, the games of Trump, I think, is Series 27, card 47, which is also a 9/11. So
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know, it's kind of fucking funny that, here we are, with the numerology again.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It
kind of
keeps
funny.
coming up too many times to be a coincidence.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
yeah, definitely
Crazy.
rare. But hey guys, I gotta run. This was fucking great. I love hanging with the frogs.
All right. So we have. We could move here. God, there's so much to talk about here. Uh, do you guys want to move to the what Stretch and Sata did this week? Does that sound all right? Want to move?
Sure.
All right. We have what Stretch. Let me pull that out. I just pulled up Stretch Live here and what they did today. Um, so they did. This is the day now.
Holy fuck.
Another 5,000 bought in Bitcoin.
Holy
So that
shit.
is over 10,000 Bitcoin for this week, and we still got another day to go till X date.
Yeah. This is getting crazy. Really, that's crazy. I mean,
Really
Dude,
fast.
Crash, I told you I was super worried about like how long it took them to get back to par after their last dividend.
Yeah.
This is actually shocking me. This is fucking unbelievable.
Well, you got to think though too. This week, every week basically that they've started this. Certainly, the last week they always push the par because everyone's diving in for the dividend. So that makes total sense. Like this isn't that much of a surprise, but I think that is kind of where the obviously the biweekly payout is what they're trying to do now to cut that out to give people more incentive to stay in and not rotate to other
Yeah,
things.
yeah, keep rotating. Yeah.
But now with the fucking Strive earnings call today, they announced that they're doing daily dividends now. Every single day you're getting that 13% paid to you annually.
Holy shit.
13% annually paid to you daily. Like, first of all, that is amazing for margin users. And just in general, even if you just have $1 million in SATA, getting that what $300 give or take a day, $350 a day at your disposal every single day instead of waiting a month or waiting every 2 weeks. Your your portfolio, your value is gaining, even if you just reinvest the dividend back into SATA. Like picking, you're gaining your value way faster than every month. Like
Yeah.
it does, like, because when I first heard that this morning, I'm like, all right, is that really like world changing? Like I had to think about that for a minute. And then the more I was listening to the earnings call and I was thinking about what you could do, obviously, with a dividend like that every single day, like, okay. And we never really seen this before in the US stock market. This is the first of its kind. And I don't know. Can you guys want to touch on like how big of a deal this is?
Uh, well, yeah, I think I called a couple of people that I kind of keep up with about this stuff, and let them know that was the way things were going to be mid June is when it's starting. And yeah, the optionality that gives you, just access to the capital and the rate at which you could potentially, I mean, it makes the margin usage, the sort of looping idea make more sense. I think it gives much more stability. Certainly does to SATA, but I expect that STRC. Well, it's funny because it was just big news that STRC was going biweekly,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden here we are, and it's like I like this what looks like mounting competition, right? This like one upmanship. I mean, are we going to be going to buy daily? Like 3 times every hour, right? At
Yeah.
what point is this just it's
Not,
streaming capital, right? We're
not to
streaming.
mention Sailor congratulating them on it, no
Yeah.
less. So it's a friendly competition at the same time.
Well, this is what's so beautiful about this whole experiment, right? Is because they're both driving each other's balance sheets higher. by doing this. So why wouldn't they be? They've just opened up another portal to transfer energy from the old system to the new, because obviously all of these dollars are buying Bitcoin. So, but what I want to know is, when is it? At what point? It feels like we've got all this pressure building up, like just pressure that is like, I'm really starting to believe, holy shit, maybe there is going to be like a giant sort of reckoning Omega candle moment, because
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, they keep
understand how
chewing
you
the
can.
sellers. They keep chewing out the sellers, man. I mean, it's like what Luke said. These two companies alone are eating the bear market.
Who gives a shit about halvings anymore? I mean, we're so far
Yeah.
away from even being that even mattering. But I mean, that's the thing, is I need somebody to explain to me why I'm wrong about that. I just don't. I'm just doing math. I don't understand how we're not already, you know, 10 times higher than we are. I don't get it. I don't know how that part. I don't really wrap my head around how that part works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess back to
Oh,
initially my
did you,
point. What?
oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys see that Jane Street sold like
Yeah,
75% of their Bitcoin holdings?
yeah.
What do you guys think that means?
Well, I think they had to. I'm not. They were supposedly that's when the 10 a.m. slams stopped, right? When they started
Yeah,
to reduce their position. So my guess is that they maybe were doing it preemptively because they were in a bit of a squeeze there. I don't know.
that's what I'm
That's my
thinking
take.
too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like all these motherfuckers that have been sitting there shorting the shit out of Bitcoin are having to pull out.
Yeah. And supposedly 85K is the next resistance. Like there's nothing after 85K. So if we are able to hit that, apparently, but then again, that's chart fagging a little bit. But I
Yeah.
mean that, yeah.
That is a question. I know a lot of people will argue this, right, when it comes to chart reading and RSI and all these different metrics, but there's got to be a point where all that stuff breaks, where power law breaks, where
Oh
all those things
yeah,
break. Like,
yeah.
there's got
Yeah.
to be, because the denominator is infinitely expandable. So how can you do the math, right? Because everything is going to be based on historic, let's call it, you can call it historic debasement. But like, as soon as you just all of a sudden, expose like an unknown variable, like psych, it turns out it actually is losing value way faster than your entire, formula took account for. That would have to change all of that stuff. All of it would have to change immediately, right? That's another question I'm asking kind of collectively. So, like, well, yeah, what is it? What could break the chart squigglers? It would be this sort of like unprecedented, like sort of miscalculation of that, the underlying
Yeah,
denominator.
well, I think it's multiple things that coming in at the same time too. I think will break charts. Because even Michael Saylor years ago said all your models are going to be broken here very
Yeah,
soon. So like now
yeah,
he
yeah,
might have been a couple years a little too ahead of himself, but I mean I think with AI, with debasement here, like with the rates, interest rates, just the debt, everything is coming to a head, and that's where these charts are just not going to make sense anymore. Like, yeah, I mean, it's fine to look at it and like have it as a tool, but like just to solely go off of that, not really look at anything else, I think that's a huge mistake. Um,
Yeah.
but I think back to the original, like what you said there, Adam, about Stretch being at par this week. I think now with the daily dividends with Sata, fuck, we seen uh, Sata moved 75 cents ish today back to par for a couple minutes after that news. And now they don't start the daily dividend until next month in June, I believe. And that's going to kill the volatility. There is going to be no volatility in
Yeah,
SATA
that's a
because
good
there's going to
point.
be no incentive for anyone to get out of SATA first and foremost.
That's a really good point.
it,
Yeah, it just holds you there.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Because like you don't have that 3 weeks to just go and do anything with that money, that
That's
dividend,
a good point.
and
Yeah.
even
Well,
two, and every 2 weeks, like with Stretch doing now.
what
Yeah, that's better, but it's
what you
still
could do, you could take advantage of that though. You could say, well, I'm going to move it out on the X div date for STRC, and I'll forego that one day, because you have to hold it the business day before
that's true.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
distribution. So you could just
I
give it
mean,
up for
But one
basically
day.
2 days, and then get the STRC dividend. Now what it does is it de-risks the arbitrage. It's less likely you'll lose on a price swing on the Sata side, and STRC is just simply not moving as much because of the sheer volume.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other point too. I want to bring up that I thought of right away is that I think Stretch. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think Stretch. I want to use the word carefully here. Not necessarily have trouble, going back to par or whatever. Like I think there's this competition now. This is like Sata moved 2 steps ahead. I think of Sailor, and obviously and this tweet here of Michael congratulating him, like you had the big dog, like saying, "Yeah, you got me this time. You got me this time, guys." Yeah, I just think I not that Stretch is in any danger or anything like that at all, but I think Sata's gonna be humming the next.
Dude, them clearing the debt and saying all
Well,
Bitcoin
that
buys
too.
are raised by Sata is a huge fucking statement, dude. I mean, the underlying stock is going to fucking explode because of that.
Yeah.
So Sailor really is almost motivated to have to do the same fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, because he did mention in one of those newer interviews the last couple of weeks, Sailor, saying that we're not going to get rid of all the debt or like convertibles, but this might change a little bit here. I mean, he can obviously do it, like sell more Bitcoin or whatever. He can, it's possible to do it, but like, is it the most economical way to do it in less than a year? I don't know. I don't know really the numbers on that, but this is actually the more I think about this with Sata and Stride, this is a bigger deal than like what you initially see.
Yeah, because so what's the calculation here? So it's 13.5% annualized.
13 only still.
Or 13% annualized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paid daily.
It's three something. I just seen it. I posted it. Let me see. I posted, I think, to Frogs and Friends.
That's actually that is fucking insane if you really think about it.
Million in Sata, $1 million in Sata at 13%. 13% yearly, it's 130,000. Monthly, on average, it's $10,800. Daily, it's $356. Look the fuck out, guys.
Yeah, holy shit.
This is a big deal. The more we talk about it, the more I flesh it out and shit. It is. I wasn't I wasn't deflated with that announcement. I was actually at first more excited about the debt removal. I was more excited about that. But the more I'm looking at this dividend, it's changing shit, man. It is going to change shit, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's normalizing the UBI, and you just go build your own.
Yeah. Well, and also too, Strive is going to be catching up. Well, let me use that term a little loosely as well. With Bitcoin buys, like because they're going to be at par more frequently now than even Stretch, and they are going to be catching up to maybe like the third or second spot.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, and that goes back to the
what the fuck is Jack Mallers doing? That motherfucker needs to get moving.
Yeah, even Adam Beck. It's like, I think because that makes me what I seen today made me want to put $5,000 more into Strive Common, like because this tells me we're easily seeing $100 in the near future.
Absolutely,
like that. Oh my god! Anybody? God, I don't want to keep on that.
I enjoy this. What's up, man?
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
That's all right. Any excitement for your day as far as the news cycle goes?
Well, yeah, I was going to make a play this morning when the dip was going, and I snoozed on it, and then I turned around and looked, and everything was green. So I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe tomorrow."
I want so badly to believe in the Kevin O'Leary theory. As soon as the 30 Act passes, there's billions coming into billions or trillions coming into Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true, but it's not going to be on one night though either. I would say so. Like, I mean, are we talking in a 3-month span, or are we talking everything's coming in 1 week?
I don't know what the fuck anybody's waiting for. I mean, other than
I think a lot of that, the real capital, it really is bound to the sort of procedure around it.
So too. Yeah.
And then retail doesn't matter. I'm not saying it won't have some impact, but it really doesn't matter. And then I think you got to answer the question earlier is like, I think this is the beginning of the bottom of the S curve, right? Like this is the
Yeah.
moment. These are the moments leading up to the serious, like, I don't understand, because at that point it's really just a mechanism that really is moving liquidity from essentially the old system into the new. And then one of the threats there that I always thought could exist is really for this is why I think it's all contingent upon this sort of, and maybe we go back to the U.S. debt clock, but the idea of buying treasuries, right? Like the treasury is becoming not not the instrument that you,
Not the safe go-to anymore.
yeah, why would you risk, right? Like, so like there's all of these incentives pushing on really the price of Bitcoin essentially is what we're talking about here, because it's the size of the container. And so the preferreds, the STRC, SATA, and any incoming digital credit that's going to be tied to that are all just more mechanisms driving that up. So yeah, I think this is
dude. How do you not change the world with a fucking, like, whatever the U.S. debt clock? They keep calling this dividend dollar. So if you hold this dollar, it just pays you. So like, how the fuck
your purchasing power increases?
Yeah, but like, how do you not change the entire world to switch to that model? Otherwise, they lose their currency.
You could let them
saying? Like, so if you tokenize, if now we're tokenizing dollars, and it is a dividend dollar that's it's continually appreciating, then you can sell that dollar to any retail person across the globe. The only way any other country can compete against that is to do the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like Sata and Stretch. I mean, look, bro, like here's the fucking secret sauce. Either get on board or you're done. Seriously, like simple as that. It's crazy.
Makes me think they could be part of it to some degree, because you could argue that if you bought significant portions, you could buy both really, and then offer an average of both distributions. But if you had STRC and SATA, and then you tokenized those assets, and then you divided it by 100, you'd essentially have a dollar that was backed by Stretch or SATA.
Yeah. Well, I think
returned.
I think what you're explaining there, Meta, is already in motion and like already being done, because Strive is going to release that ETF to the market over the summer of Stretch and SATA in one ETF.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So then just divide it. We'll take that, make it decentralized, essentially tokenize it, preferably on, if you could tie it back to Bitcoin, the better that would be, and then allow you to transact with it or share it as value at an infinitely divisible, portion of it.
Yeah, because they're making it as an income fund. So I don't know exactly if they're going to be doing like cover calls or anything on the two, but either way, Strive is making a ETF that's coming out this summer. Because that's what someone was saying on the other night on X. They're like, if this announcement is this ETF that we all know about already, this is gonna be a biggest letdown ever. But it obviously wasn't that. But no, that is in process. And Adam, remember Tuesday when we were on the portfolio? I was like, where are we gonna put our bull market money?
Yeah.
And I thought of that over like the last couple of nights. I was like, that is where it's gonna be probably.
That makes sense.
But remember, we're gonna start the whole bear bull cycle. It's going to be questionable as to whether or not we're even going to see that.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. But
that's exactly what we said too.
Yeah.
Is there one?
The bulls in us agree, but we have been wrong before. But what is is it a 6 month downturn that's only 25%? You know what I mean? Like it's going to be very shallow compared to previous bears.
You got to think about why they happen, right?
Right.
And there's all these different theories about it, and I'll spare you all because I'm not the expert on any of it. But some degree of it's psychological.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? If we enter a new era where there's always a buyer
Hmm.
because they understand what it is and they understand what's happening, then all of a sudden it's just more of a, you know, it's more of a
I agree.
climb up with like stairs, right? There's not a there aren't drops. There's just like more and more buying, and then it slows down a little
More
bit. So
chop
it's
up,
yes,
more of a choppy
or
up,
or
I
not
think.
even chop, right? Because chop would suggest that there's pullbacks, but what if it's just really like an escape valve kind of a thing where it's just relieving pressure at different points, but it doesn't have the ability to go down because there's always
Yeah.
buying pressure. Just really fiat dollars or fiat energy looking for a place to escape.
I agree 100% with that, but I think the only reason why I'm on would argue the other side is we've been wrong before and we're too
Oh,
fast. Like we're
yeah,
thinking of
yeah,
this
no
way too
doubt.
fast. Like yeah, sure that at some point it is going to be that 100%. But is that going to be in a year or is that going to be in 10 years? Like that's what we don't know.
That's a
Um
good question. I guess, like the fourth would be one milestone to get to a point. Because just like yeah, obviously we're wrong because a lot of us were just thinking maybe we're further along than we actually are, or maybe it's just obvious to us, but we're still kind of like retarded. So
mhm. Yeah.
look, if timing, being wrong about timing basically means you're wrong. And that's just the reality that we're in. But this is we're having the same conversation about different aspects of essentially the moment that something breaks, and that would cause an omega candle, that would cause this kind of an effect. Maybe we have the omega candle and then there's a huge correction after it because people get over their skis too far because they're overly confident, and you see a lot of like degeneracy. But
Mhm.
ultimately it all comes back to the denominator is broken, man. And any way you want to slice it, right? Like holding dollars is not a good idea, and it's going to become less of a good idea the more liquidity flows into this or flows out of the escape valve.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and then also, yeah, once we go up here and then we do get that crash like you said, it's still going to be higher than anyone expected at the bottom of that crash yet. If it's still going to be
Yeah,
a buyer, like
it'll probably be above the last all-time high.
yeah.
I,
Uh,
I can imagine somebody was saying this, and I've said it before too, but the just recently talking about $5,000 price moves, and that's something we haven't even really contended. We've seen it move that much in a day. We've seen it, I
yeah,
think
we've
it was
seen 10 grand a couple
yeah,
times the last couple
It
of
moved.
years.
but
It
what
moved
if
4K Canadian today, so from this morning
Yeah.
to
yeah,
this afternoon. So I
well
mean,
imagine that
Canadian
happen.
or pesos up here. So
Yeah.
Imagine what it's looking like when it's moving that much in a couple of seconds.
right.
I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. And there were people back in the day, like it's moving hundreds of dollars now in seconds, right? So it's all a matter of scale. And that's the thing is like, I think once we're talking about some of this stuff happening, like it's going to be like, oh yeah, Bitcoin crashed from what, 783,000 down to 685,000.
So
Yeah.
are you calling then like that there's going to be less or more volatility then as the bid goes up?
Well, I would think that would be the volatility would be based on the scale, right? So it's a smaller percentage. In other words, like it's the same. I think it's very, I don't know if it's the same math, but it's like going from 75,000 down to 68,000 is like going from 750,000 down to 680,000, right?
Yeah.
It's just a multiplier. Same
Okay.
percentage, I
Yeah.
guess. So the volatility is based on the percentage it moves, right?
Okay. Yeah, man. That's hard to wrap the brain around, because like so let me throw this at you then too. Do you still see a 30-year or sorry, 30% CAGR for Bitcoin in the future then? Or you think it's going to be even more than that with kind of like what you kind of been mentioning throughout the episode here? Like I feel like you're going to be higher than 30% on average a year.
Well, no, I think 30 is reasonable. I've always
Okay.
thought that because I always look at it through the lens of the addressable market, right? Like we're talking about hundreds of trillions,
Yeah.
whatever
Okay.
that even means. Like I don't even understand how you assign meaning to that because like 1 trillion is unfathomable, right? So hundreds of trillions. So that's what it's that's the math that's got to absorb or some percentage of that, which is where the 30% CAGR comes from. So I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes north of there if more of that capital flows out of some of the other forms of wealth and assets that are less viable in a future dominated by agentics, AI automation. It's hard to know how all that stuff's going to play out, but as far as whether or not the capital is there, where it's going to come from, yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's there. I mean, it
Well,
exists
yeah,
today,
that's
right?
that's the thing. Like in the bond market and in real estate, that's what like 600 trillion or something. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, what the fuck? Like, it has to absorb that, and that's crazy because we're sitting at what 1.5 trillion or something now, if
yeah.
that. Like what
There,
that doesn't even make any sense. That's where the
that,
infinity number comes from. That's what I'm saying. Like 30% has to be conservative as fuck from Sailor. Like that's him.
that's why that CoffeeZilla guy, when he asked
Well, yeah,
Jeff that question, like it really did expose like a gross low, I guess I don't want to say misunderstanding. It's a lack of understanding in what we're talking about
I
here.
think it could be
Like,
both.
yeah, people have like a problem with the sheer scale of like there's a bunch of stuff that you can find some visuals online that show you what $1 trillion would look like if it was $100 bills in
Yeah.
physical, right? How much space it would take up, volume.
Hmm.
And you start getting into hundreds of trillions. It's just it's kind of like I don't know. It's just that it's a point where numbers just become jibber jabber. Like
Yeah,
it's
there's
just
no
like
words for it.
It's
You know.
N's point of it's scary. If you
Hmm.
really
yeah,
think about the success of it, it's scary.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, there was a point, another point I wanted to bring up about that. But yeah, I know this is splitting hairs here. But are we kind of more bullish on Strive at this point in time, or are we more bullish on strategy? I know that's like splitting hairs there. There's not a wrong answer. I'll say that. But
I mean, you get an extra 2% on one. I mean,
Well,
no, no,
are
no,
you
no,
talking
no,
about
no, 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 no. I'm talking
ASST
about the
versus
common. Yeah,
MSTR?
no, I'm talking
Yeah,
about the common. Yeah,
oh, just the common?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I would say Strive. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I don't even know.
I think Strive's
Because,
got more
like,
upside near term.
yeah, near term upside just because of its price point.
Hmm.
But, I mean, at least you can go into a larger size in it.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
But I just have a feeling Sailor is going to make a big move
nah, he is.
next week.
Yeah, something's.
Just
He's the
got a
man.
feeling.
Like, as much as I love Jeff, like Jeff is like a junior sailor, like with numbers and shit like that. Like, holy shit! Like, I like Jeff has impressed me like this last year. Like, since we've been starting to follow Strive a little bit more, and like obviously True North, we were big fans of that from the start. But like, yeah, it's like that CoffeeZilla um debate really kind of hurt my brain to Meta's point. Like it's just a misunderstanding or just a lack. Like it's probably even like we said both, but man,
Meta,
Ryan,
I
you
thought
what?
about yeah, I thought about your comment because I was like that dude. I don't know who he is, but he seems like a shit corner. And he's
Yeah,
like the simplicity of his he just doesn't understand.
no,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
He's an arrogant
there,
non-understander.
he's
So
done
it's
some good. My understanding
annoying.
is he's done some good work, kind of warning people away from a lot of shitcoin scams. And I think I don't know much about him. I didn't know he even existed until he did the STRC video.
yeah,
I don't want to shit talk the guy, but what I will say is that it was obvious to me that he didn't understand. Well, he doesn't understand what insurance is. He didn't understand what and also when Jeff asked him, "Is it risky to hold dollars?" He he looked like that kind of broke his brain a little bit.
yeah,
Like he
yeah.
doesn't understand what currency, the
And
difference between currency and money, and
he
then he
called it
certainly doesn't understand Bitcoin.
he called the dollar an asset, man. Like when I heard that, I'm like, how can you come to that realization or that like definite or like how is that even a thing to you? Like that a dollar, he said it a liquid asset. Either way, put an asset behind a fucking fiat. I don't understand how you can do that. Like, I mean, maybe technically, like
Not these
definition
days.
wise. Yeah, like definition wise, I guess that's
Maybe your
correct.
grandfather, like that's what you learned from your grandfather,
Oh
but
my
not
God.
these
Yeah, as
days.
soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, I might have to stop this video here.
I think it was a good conversation though,
It
because
was, yeah.
I really do think you kind of have to test each individual as far as their level of comprehension about all of these different instruments and these things, right?
Hmm.
And I think that if you think of the dollar as what it is, the denominator, right? This sort of ever expanding, really inaccurate way of measuring value, because every time you look at the measurement, it's basically different. And somebody might take that to the extreme and say, well, that's nonsense because if I go to the grocery store one week and a bag of potato chips is 4.99 and I go back and it's 4.99, it hasn't moved. It's like, yeah, it's not measuring things like consistently across all of the different things that we value. It's if you come back, it depends on the length of time per underlying good or service, right? So, but if you don't have that understanding as a base building block, which is what a lot of Bitcoiners, by the way, now have, and if you've been in it for a long time and you've been studying it for hundreds or even thousands of hours, like you've gotten to the point where you're intimate with that. If you try to debate somebody and you don't have that information, and it's about finance, I don't care if you're a fucking like you crushed it during the early 2000s in your stock portfolio, and you called the top on Qualcomm or whatever bullshit you want to brag about. Like, you realize like all of that nonsense gets flushed away, and you're just left with this sort of more philosophical conundrum.
Meta, it goes back to the conversation we just had earlier about ego. Like, just admit you don't fucking know.
Yeah, well, that would
People,
be awkward
especially,
for him. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I think that would be really awkward for him, which is why he came off as arrogant. Because I think and I also think Jeff was overestimating what he was giving him way more credit for what he may or may not have understood. Now he does understand other financial terms and things that I don't necessarily have a good understanding of, like tail risk and those kinds of things, but I don't. I think it's way more valuable to understand what Bitcoin is, and if you really understand what Bitcoin is, that means you also understand what dollars are,
Yeah.
and that should have framed the way he approached the conversation, because the whole reason he thinks it's risky in the first place is because he thinks, and he also mischaracterizes it as a Ponzi scheme, which is totally not what a Ponzi scheme is. Because Jeff flat out said, he goes, "Yeah, Ponzi schemes don't have balance sheets. They
Yeah.
don't have assets,
Exactly.
right? Like,
Yeah. Asset. Hmm.
their assets are the investors they haven't suckered into buying into the scheme yet. That's what their balance sheet looks like. Prospects,
well,
right?
and to his point, he's like, well, so essentially you're calling Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Yeah. For the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. 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 Jeff was awesome on that video. But to your point, that is what people need to see. They need to expand their thinking or challenge their thinking on that kind of stuff. So it's good to have, like good to have these kind of videos and talks and stuff. But yeah, that Jeff had to really question. He was questioning himself when he questioned coffee about our dollars risky. Like when he said that, he was like, "Wait, maybe I should just ask that." After he asked it at first, so he asked it again, and yeah, we all got
Well,
the answer.
dollars are constantly melting. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
It's
100%.
guaranteed.
look
But
at look
yeah,
at the 100-year. Look at since 1913, the value it's lost. I mean, it's constantly melting. You may not notice, like Meta said, day to day or week to week in the grocery store, but it's year to year. You can notice it.
well, yeah, it's compounded too, and that's another point Jeff
That's right.
made. Like yeah, it 7% doesn't sound like a lot, I guess, but that's not just one year. That's
Yeah.
multiple years. That's years in a row. And that's
2 years
another
in a
point.
row, 7%. That's now 14%.
It's
Yeah.
cumulative. It
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah, exactly. So
And then when you do it the other way for the positive side of like say Sata stretch, yeah, that's what saves you, from that compounding. And that's what saves them also too from paying out the dividends because the Bitcoin goes up
That
on average 30%. So
that's a good point worth making, right? Like right now, when we think of it in dollars as they are now, $365 a day. If you had $1 million, sounds like holy shit, yeah, I'd be done. But it's like, yeah, but if you put $1 million into STRC or SATA right now, I would think that would be foolish unless you had so much Bitcoin and so many other. Because if you want to, like, this is the growth versus income argument,
Hmm.
but to an extreme, right? Like $1 million of capital right now would be so much better served in really because of Bitcoin being at this sort of down, on the lower end,
Yeah.
price wise. But if you even if you wanted to speculate further and take on more risk, even something like Strive or Strategy, you could do so much more with that and amplify it so much more as far as purchasing power. But that just comes down to like, yeah, if that's all you had, then I think it would be not very. It would be kind of foolish to
It just
to put it all in
I
there,
think
right?
it really just comes down to those people who are looking for an income, like a passive income,
Yep.
right? That's really all this comes down to, and that's a $300 trillion addressable market.
Well,
Almost,
guys,
almost
can
risk
I
free
pause for
too.
a second because I'm
Yeah.
kind of alarmed by the. I'm looking at the STRC live website, and I'm watching STRC. Can you pull it up for a
Yeah,
second? Because
yeah, I'll
I'm
pull it up.
seeing 8,500. It's going up faster than I can. I don't understand what I'm looking at here. It looks like the debt clock. Well, STRC.live, I'm just kind of left wondering what it is. This is Forrest Hodel's site, is it not? I think it
Oh
is.
yeah, I think it is, Ant.
And maybe he had something broke on his
Oh
end because
shit. No, yeah,
Holy
okay.
shit. Dude, that's within like 20 minutes of us pulling that up last time. At what,
right,
Two
it,
two
it's
hours,
going
two
up.
hours, Adam. Two
two
hours.
hours?
It's
Yeah.
it's
Dude,
going up hundred. It's going up at like a rate of like a Bitcoin every like 10 seconds.
If yeah. Let me look at Stretch.
holy
I'm looking at
shit.
Stretch here on Robinhood, just to see if anything looks. It's still, I mean, at 100. It's going up and down. It's hitting 101, 100, 101. It's like going back and forth every like
Oh,
five
I like
minutes.
that how they have STRC active, SATA on standby because it's not at par yet. It's not buying.
Oh shit. Okay. I didn't, yeah, damn. I didn't know he put
That's
Sata on.
cool as shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't, yeah. How isn't this a bottom here? I don't, this is breaking our
I
brains.
just I just want to know like what are we looking at for the inflows into SCRC right now? Is it really
Well, no,
8,600
That's what it's
Bitcoin?
looking
it, it,
like.
it is because we've seen this the previous months. You get this big ass inflow of capital coming in this final week before ex dividend.
Oh, yeah. This is all of the yeah. This is ex
Oh,
div date. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
tomorrow's ex div, and that's why I said I think
Oh, okay.
I said the unrec Pepe or Brud or someone in the Frogs and Friends chat because he was like, um, I don't know, he brought something about Stretch, and I said, well, we're gonna really find out how much Stretch is affected by this Sata move after Friday. Because like everyone will move out Monday morning or tomorrow, basically. So we'll know what we're looking at as far as par wise and the strength of Stretch um, after Monday or after
yeah.
Friday. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to next week or tomorrow. So
So so can we go back to that real quick and if I don't know how much time we want to spend on this call, but I want to leave if, depending on how close we are to wrapping up. Um, if you had a strategy where you held Stata almost the entire time, but you only moved out of SATA your whole position and into stretch on the XDiv dates, uh, even when they move to a biweekly program.
yeah,
What does that actually look like? Because I feel like the any kind of fluctuation in share price is going to be absorbed in both of those scenarios. You're going to have more stability, right?
right.
So if
Yeah.
you and you don't have that risk, when Forrest Total did that exercise when he talked about flip flopping between them, because
Yeah,
they
they
were
were both
alternating,
monthly at that time.
right? But now that we're in this environment, you're essentially all almost always going to be getting your SATA distribution, but then you could use the capital, the underlying capital, to position yourself on the biweekly ex div dates and collect the stretch dividends as well. And even if you didn't get back in, like you might lose a little bit, but they're both going to be more stable. So I guess my
Correct.
point is like, yeah, like it seems like that would be kind of a
It's
no-brainer.
almost to me at this point, like my answer would be to that is I don't think it's really worth it. Like as far as like the capital that we have, like if you're a big hedge fund or whatever, like yeah, 1, 2 pennies is like hundreds of thousands of dollars on that trade. Yeah, okay, I get
Yeah.
it. But like us, I don't know if it would be even worth doing.
Well,
Like to me,
let's
I
say
don't
you
think
had
that's even worth doing it.
$10,000, right? So you got
Yeah.
100 shares of Sata, and then you're getting your what is it? $10, right? You're getting your
Hmm.
what would that be? Daily distribution or whatever they're
13,
called. Yeah, so
$13.
$13. So you're getting like a dollar. Uh, you'd be getting $13 a month,
Yeah,
right?
it's like 50 cents a day.
Wait, 130. Wait a second, 10,000, 100 shares. Okay, yeah, so 13 cents a day. And then you on ex-div date, you just sold out and bought STRC. Now you're getting another uh, dollar essentially, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then you just get and then you sell it back into SATA the next day. So now you've got the distribution coming from strategy or from STRC, and you moved back into SATA, so you're back to you're getting your daily. So you're basically doubling your distribution.
Yeah, I
I
guess
understand why
so.
you'd say it's not worth it, but I mean you're getting significantly more upside via distribution if you because that capital is collecting.
Right. But then again, I mean, if you want to play the return of capital, then too, I mean, you kind of
Right,
have
you
to
don't
deal with
get
that.
yeah, you don't get that, but
I
you
mean,
may be offsetting it enough. Whereas before you were taking more of a risk, right? Because
yeah,
you could have par, you could have one or both of them could move from par to a degree that it would increase the level of risk, right? But here, you're already seeing the risk diminish as far as the price pulling away from par as much.
right. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I wouldn't even bother with that. I'd rather be figuring out some other problems in my portfolio than that. Uh, now granted, if you had over like 100 grand or like a million or whatever, but then again, you have that big a capital anyway, that much capital. Why would I don't know if I would even be wanting to do that. I don't know. That's a good thought experiment if I would even be
It,
willing to entertain that.
I just want to point out something. So STRC just hit their all-time high volume today. So their old
Yeah.
all-time high volume 14.181.
Yep.
It's now 15.09.
Uh,
And they
yeah.
just
Yeah.
stacked
Yeah.
over
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
100.
Yeah. Yeah. Right here. Yeah. I see you. The
Yeah.
They
volume.
just stacked over 160 Bitcoin since Meta told us to check out that clock too.
It's insane.
Oh God. Yeah.
I
So
finally just
yeah.
went under par.
Yeah. No one can buy or no one can receive the dividend now, since it is 4 o'clock. So that's
Oh, that's
why,
why it just switched. Yeah.
yeah, that's why you
Yeah.
see it go down here now a little bit. But yeah, you even seen Sata going up there a little bit there, about 2 cents since we started. Interesting. This is crazy shit. We're seeing shit in real time now, which is actually really cool.
That's pretty
Um,
It's
wild.
a new world.
Yes, it
so
is.
let me just real quick give you the math on what I was trying to communicate
Yeah,
earlier, just so
please.
you can. So if you divided by 24. Okay, so you be getting $5 a day on SATA, and if one of those days you on the ex-div date
You missed
for
that. Yeah.
STRC, you moved over to STRC, you would be getting an additional uh, $50, right?
Okay.
So and that would
Off
be
of 10,000 now? Off of $10,000?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You're using the $10,000 to
Yes.
generate
Oh, I
essentially
see.
an additional 1,150. So it's better to look at it annually, right? So you're using $10,000, and if you do this every 2 weeks on the ex-div date for STRC,
Yep.
you would then instead of just $1,300 a year, you'd be making $2,450 a year.
Okay. And then you minus the $60 that you didn't get from that one Sata day.
No, I didn't do the math on that, but yeah,
Okay.
but it would only be for the one day that you didn't collect that
But
$5.
there would be 12 of those days though for the year if you're doing annually.
Yeah. Right,
Okay,
right,
okay,
right.
okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
you're taking $60 off of the total 24.50 or something like that, right? You can do this math a lot cleaner than I'm doing it. I'm not a math person, but it just struck me that there would be it basically speaks to what Forrest Hodel was kind of going through this flip flopping between them both when they were both monthly, and they came at different intervals. But now, if you set that aside and you just do it based on, SATA's, they're both more stable and SATA's daily. So that's the one where you want your capital to sit most of the time. Essentially, that's your bank account, your savings account. And that STRC is just, this sort of like sidecar that you can earn an extra 11.5% on the same money. But you're right, you would be foregoing if the return of capital was important to you because you're gonna, do that whole thing, then yes, you would be foregoing that. And what you'd be doing is you'd be paying a short-term capital gain on the difference. It gets very confusing, but the point is that like once you deduct everything, the day
It would
you're
be a
losing from
positive,
SATA, you'd be still making, I don't know what the percentage would be, but you're still going to be making a healthy amount.
Well, let me throw this here too. With Sata doing this, that's only going to mean that Sata's going to be more over collateralized because they're picking up Bitcoin at a way faster rate here now. And obviously now no debt from Strive. That I would have to imagine helps that in and of itself, just based on the narrative alone. Guys, thank you so much here for joining us. Ryan, Meta, G Money, and Adam. This has been great. We will see you guys next week. Let us know in the comments, guys, what you guys are looking forward to next week and what your thoughts are on these topics here. Tell us what you're doing in your portfolio. Thank you so much for watching. Stay out of that collateral damage. If you guys enjoyed this video, check out all the other roundtables right up top here.
Recap the earning call. Yeah. They said, Mike, don't touch the Bitcoin stack. Now I'm buying more while they fading into black. STRC printing, engine running clean, watching debt transform into the Bitcoin dream. Turned on the BTC drive, no shame in my face. 65 billion and I'm still winning the race. They panic when I say, sell a little coin just to prove the whole market doesn't break or get destroyed. Company fine, Bitcoin fine, world still spins. You scream Ponzi while the weak cave in. Bitcoin getting stronger every cycle, reborn while I keep building through the middle of the storm. I'd like nothing better than to rip your wings off. Every short position getting weaker when we lift off. I'd like nothing better than to rip your wings off. We use the equity ATM, yeah, we said it with pride. Then this DRC machine came alive on the side. More tools, more options, more fuel for the fire. While the shorts pray every quarter that the stock expires. I buy Bitcoin like development land. Buy it low, build it up, then expand what we can. Flip the profit back again into more BTC. That's the difference between conviction and jealousy. I like nothing better than to rip your wings off. Watching every short seller realize there's no second best. I like nothing better than to rip your wings off. There is no second